We normally help people somewhere between about 2 times and 5 times their revenue from their existing audience. And quite a lot of times we end up making people millionaires. So there's three main areas that people go wrong. One, they don't manage to build a big enough email list. Two, they don't manage to convert enough of the email list and their traffic into buying from them. And then third, their average revenue per sale is too low. And a lot of people aren't even aware that these are kind of the issues. Like a lot of people who've got just organic traffic, they just have people go to the website and some of them buy, and they're not really focused on the email list. And the bulk of the money in these kinds of businesses is in the list. Like the vast majority, even if you're running ads and you've got 1 million coming in at the front end every month, you're still, the vast majority of the money is in the list in the back end behind that.
All right, everybody. Welcome to today's VidTao podcast. I am Ian Nagy, co-founder of VidTao, and today we have special guest, Mr. John Ainsworth. John runs datadrivenmarketing.co. He is an expert at getting more money out of every visitor to your site, every email subscriber you get. And today he's going to go over the top 8 ways to really boost your customer value. So we're talking about things on the front end of the funnel. We're talking about marketing to existing audience, all these things. And he's going to get really tactical, share the ways that he helps his clients triple or even 5x or more their monthly revenue just by manipulating things on the back end. So we're talking about post clicks, not ads, talking about conversion rate, and also getting that AOV up. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
This podcast is brought to you by VidTao.com. VidTao is our free YouTube ad library and spy tool, research tool. It's VidTao.com. At VidTao, we have close to 1 million unlisted YouTube video ads that you can search, find, discover how they're doing on a day-by-day basis. So you can really see what ads your competitors are running, see ads in different markets that you can model to create new winning ads for yourself, and a whole lot more. It's all there inside VidTao.com. Plus, we have a premium edition. So the database is free to access, but then we also have a premium edition where you have full unlimited access to the database. And inside there, we also provide training. So we also run an agency called Inceptly. That's INCEPTLY, Inceptly.com, where we've managed over $150 million on YouTube. It's a video traffic agency, and we've worked with everyone from brands like Descript.com, Huel, to real scrappy direct response info products, supplements, health, beauty, e-commerce, you name it, we've done it, and love sharing what we've learned. Every week we drop new training in there, everything from YouTube ad media buying to running e-commerce creatives on YouTube to hardcore tracking and attribution tutorials to really level up your data science game for advertising, and everything in between. Right now, as we speak, we're working on a training regarding YouTube Shorts. Hopefully we'll be live by the time you hear this. On and on and on. This is our passion, is video advertising, and we want to share it with you inside of VidTao Premium. And actually right now, for a limited time, you can get access to VidTao Premium for a very special price. So if you go to VidTao.com, sign up for free, check out the database, upgrade to premium for this very special price, so you get access to all of the database and all the trainings. And also wanted to add that at Inceptly, we do free brainstorm calls with clients like you. So if you ever want to get help or ask questions about your YouTube ads, your video traffic on other platforms, we're available to chat. Just go to inceptly.com/call, CALL, and set up a time to chat. It's free, and would love to speak with you. Our team's waiting to speak with you. So without further ado, let's get into the show.
All right, John, welcome to our VidTao podcast.
Thanks very much, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so where are you calling in from today?
I'm in London in
Nice.
the UK. And I'm going to be here for a little while longer and then head out to Portugal because it's a bit too grey here at the moment.
Nice. A common migration pattern, I know.
Yeah. I got a friend who lives in Portugal in Lisbon and then goes to Mexico in the winter because Lisbon's too cold for him. I'm like a few degrees colder for my ideal, so Lisbon's perfect for me in the winter.
Nice. That's awesome. And you can obviously do work from there if you so choose.
I'll do a week's work and then I'll do a week's just holiday. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, so So, we had a conversation a while back just talking about what it is that you do, and but let's explain it for the folks out there. So, yeah, what exactly is it that you do?
So we help online course creators who've already got an audience, that might be from ads, or it might be from organic traffic or social media, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. And they've already got courses. And so they're making sales, but they haven't really nailed their funnels and their email marketing yet. And so what we do is we normally help people somewhere between about 2 times and 5 times their revenue from their existing audience. And quite a lot of times we end up making people millionaires, which is quite good fun.
Wow. So, create millionaires. People have they have some kind of area of expertise in a basic course, and you just magnify it 2x, 5x.
Yeah, our best ever is like 30 times, but that's not typical. Wow. I don't want to give the wrong impression to people. 2 to 5 times is nearly everybody's in that range. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And this is without adding in more organic or paid traffic. This is just within their existing ecosystem.
Yeah, once you start to add in, once you've built out the funnels and you've built out the email marketing and you've got great, we call it strategic funnel optimization. Once you've got that all in place and then you start to add ads in, then it really can start to take off after that. But yeah, we work with ad providers who've got, a lot of times we get a lot of referrals from people who are running an ad agency, and they are frustrated because their clients don't have good funnels. And we're like, okay, we'll fix a funnel, and then your job's easier on the ad side. And then when you combine the two, it takes off. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what typically are you seeing? What are some of the mistakes that, let's say, course creators are making when it comes to maybe they build some kind of basic audience organically and they've kind of hit a plateau? What are some common situations?
There's three main areas that people go wrong. 1, they don't manage to build a big enough email list. 2, they don't manage to convert enough of the email list and their traffic into buying from them. And then 3rd, their average revenue per sale is too low. And a lot of people aren't even aware that these are kind of the issues. Like a lot of people who've got just organic traffic, they just have people go to the website and some of them buy, and they're not really focused on the email list. And the bulk of the money in these kinds of businesses is in the list. Like the vast majority, even if you're running ads and you've got 1 million coming in at the front end every month, you're still, the vast majority of the money is in the list, in the back end behind that. So the first thing around building up a bigger list, if someone's got organic traffic, is like, how do you increase the opt-in rate from your current audience? So let's say you've got a whole load of people on YouTube. Most people are not then promoting their email list. They're not promoting some way to get on the list. And the classic way of doing it is you have a lead magnet, you have something that's valuable and useful if someone signs up to your email list, and then you promote it regularly. And it doesn't sound terribly complicated, and it's really not, but very few people are doing it. And certainly very few people are doing it well. So we see if someone's got organic website traffic from Google going through to their site, then they normally have between a 0.25 and a 0.5% opt-in rate to their email list. And if someone's doing it really well, like all of our clients and our group coaching clients or all of our done-for-you clients, then they typically have about a 3% or higher opt-in rate. The highest we've ever got anybody to is, I think, just over 7%. So that's like the first thing to do, is just fix that. And so one part is you make a really, really good lead magnet. And a lot of people have just sign up to our newsletter, which is appalling. And then so you replace that with, what do they get? What valuable resource do they get that's free immediately if they sign up? And you want something that is super useful, is unique, is something that they can't just get from anywhere else. It's high perceived value. They want to get an immediate result from it, not a week's course, but what swipe file or template or resource can I get that's going to give me some benefit immediately? One of the best ones we've ever seen, we had a client called Paintable, and they had free brushes they were giving away. So if you were, as digital painting courses, so if you were interested in that, you signed up, you got these 17 free brushes to use in Photoshop or whatever it was they were teaching people in. So you got a resort, and you didn't have to do anything with it. You didn't have to do stuff yourself. You just got them and you could use them now. And so that converted really, really well. Other things people mess up there is having double opt-in. Double opt-in is done by email service providers, implemented by email service providers like MailChimp or whoever else. because it means they increase deliverability generally. Now, if you set up good stuff for yourself around cleaning up your list, getting rid of people who aren't opening your emails anymore, re-engagement campaigns, you can just turn off double opt-in and it increases your revenue something like 20% just on its own, because you now have, there's a bunch of people who were signing up to your email list who were keen and interested and wanted to be getting emails from you, but they didn't click that one email that you sent immediately saying, click this to opt in, because people are busy and they don't go through all their emails and what have you. And so a lot of good leads are just getting lost there. In terms of then taking that lead magnet and getting people to sign up for it, you want to show it more often on the site. So we've got a client in the personal development space. They were getting 100 opt-ins a week. We took the lead magnet and we put it everywhere on their site. Set up pop-ups, opt-ins in their blog post, so actually within the blog post itself, in the sidebar, exit intent pop-ups, and we went from 100 opt-ins a week to 800 opt-ins a week.
Wow.
We then took that and we promoted it more off-site on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we went from 800 to 5,000 a week. So it's like a dramatic increase in leads, which then makes everything else easier. So that's the first thing I'd say is increasing the email list size.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. That's crazy. I mean, going from, you said 100 a week to 5,000 a week. I mean, to contextualize that, I mean, what is a good revenue per subscriber per month?
Yeah.
Amount to aim for?
The way it works is that most email lists, you'll get about, I'm going to give you a more detailed answer, and then I'll answer your actual question just with a simpler number, right? So it depends, partly is the answer, but I'm going to give you something much more useful than that. So generally 0.3% of your email list will buy every month. Now, the amount of money that you make from them then depends on, okay, well, do you also have, if you have a promotion going out twice a month, that gives you 2 chances. So you're now at 0.6% of your email list total buy. What's your average order value is then another really important thing. Because if you're in the finance niche, then the average order value might be over $1,000. If you're in the hobby niche, it might be $67 or $100 or something like this. If you add in, and I'll cover this in a bit, but like things that increase the average order value, like upsells and order bumps, you can take that average order value up by about 30-40%. But let's just say, for sake of argument, that you have got a $99 average order value. I'm going to do some calculations here then. So for 100 people on your email list, let's say you've got a 10,000 person email list, times 0.6% times by $100, you're looking at $6,000. So it's about 0.6 or 60 cents per email subscriber per month, something like that. If you're in a different niche, then that might be $5. So it's gonna vary. But let's just say somewhere a bit under $1 per month.
Yeah. So talking about, that'd be like $60 a month off of that 100 person, let's say.
Yeah. If you've got 100,000 person email list, obviously this then starts to be 60,000 a month. Like, oh, okay, cool, right? We're really cooking with gas here.
Yeah, that's like, just from our firsthand experience, it's such an asset to have a good engaged email list. So I couldn't agree more. Just firsthand experience with everything that we do with our own stuff that we own, and then also our historically client stuff as well. Whenever they have an amazing back-end email operation, we're feeding in new buyers with YouTube ads, let's say, we're able to spend more to acquire customers, which means that, on aggregate, they're just making more money. So they can, their AOV's higher, so they can spend a bit more, and then we can be a little bit more aggressive in scaling, and just everything works. So I think like small scale to huge brand scale with paid ads, it's all of that list is so powerful. So yeah, I love hearing it, and it's also a reminder, like, we need to do more stuff to engage and make people happy on email, and keep that as a cornerstone of the business. So that's.
And I'm really curious, who tends to listen to this podcast? Is this for people who are running agencies? Is this people who've got their own course businesses? Is it e-commerce? Like, who do you have on the audience?
It's pretty broad. I mean, we do have a lot of agencies. We have a lot of solopreneurs, so people who maybe have a product and they're trying to scale it themselves. And then we have a lot of, we have all the biggest, agencies like Saatchi and Ogilvy, they have people who are VidTao users. Pretty much most big brands use VidTao as well because we have a free one for our software. So they at least give it a shot. So yeah, it's a pretty broad spectrum, but there are a lot of, let's say, people who are in these exact circumstances. I've had a lot of calls with people who are doing everything themselves. They built this course. They might have an expertise in like basket weaving, literally, and then they're trying to scale that, or quilting, no joke. And then they're
Yeah.
trying to run ads too, but they're also, well, the real thing is that they're good at teaching people how to make quilts, let's say. And they have a little email list, you know. So I think a lot of this advice is maybe like hyper relevant for those folks. But then
Mhm.
also, even on the bigger scale, I mean, I can't tell you how many bigger companies, nine figure companies even, that we talk to, where they will admit like, yeah, you know what, we could be doing so much more with our buyer leads. And that's why, you know, you have these other email agencies that will actually say, hey, we'll take that over for you, and we'll just collect a percentage of whatever we make for you off your list. Um, so yeah, I think your advice is pretty universal. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're running an agency that's focused on the front end, just like how much can you make for your clients straight away, there's a massive opportunity that I see most agencies missing, where they're like, if they just partnered with somebody else who would do work on the rest of the funnel, then the clients can make more money from every single website click you drive. Every buyer you drive is worth now 2, 3, 4 times as much. It's like your whole life gets so much easier.
Well,
So yeah, I'd say I'd really recommend to any agency owners, like, partner with somebody, like reach out to me, reach out to somebody else who does email marketing and conversion rate optimization, and just find some way to make your life so much easier. And anybody who's running this themselves, like, this stuff it's the bread and butter of like, how do you actually run this kind of a business?
yeah, absolutely. And then so you mentioned something else too, which is obviously increased conversions, the stuff you do on the front end, but also I imagine you're looking at people's offers and then you're sort of restructuring and thinking about how they can make higher ticket offers to sell. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So what we see is that about a tenth of people will spend about 10 times as much. And there's a great little tool that's been put together by Perry Marshall, and it's at 8020curve.com. You can go there and put in like, how many buyers have you currently got and what they're currently spending on average. And then you say, well, if I sold something for X amount of money, obviously it has to be worth that amount of money. You know, you say, right, I'm currently selling courses for $99. If I sold something for $10,000, how many people would buy? And it's pretty accurate generally. It's not obviously perfect because the world's complicated, but it's like using the 80-20 rule to try and predict what people would spend. So what we do with people is, if they've got courses at the moment, which typically people coming to us, they're selling cheaper courses, do it yourself, $100, $200, $500, that kind of thing, is we'll encourage them to put together a more expensive group coaching offering as well. And so that might be $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, something like that, depending on the niche and what have you. And you'll typically be able to about double your revenue by taking courses and adding on top a coaching arm as well, because about a tenth of the people will spend 10 times as much. So it's about as much money over again. Not
Wow.
everybody wants to do it in the course space. Some course creators are like, I just don't want to ever have to actually be on a call with customers and clients, where I just like the simplicity of it, which is fine. They can obviously choose that. But I think it's important they know what they're giving up. We've got a client who's doing Google shopping ads, and we helped him go from, I think, 3,000 to 10,000 a month, and then he doubled again to 20,000 a month just by adding in that group coaching.
Wow. That's fantastic. We'll dig more to that. But then also just wanted to say, for people who have a course and they don't really want to do group coaching, you can also hire a coach to fill that
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people do that. The dating space, for instance, and and that became a whole business, because then she's not bandwidth limited by herself. She's trained one coach, two coaches, and then she can train 3, 4, now 10 coaches to fulfill on that. And then that's a huge business right there. Like you're saying, it's people pay a premium for that level of one-on-one group guidance.
Yeah,
So
100%. It can be based around your existing courses, but you're then adding in group coaching calls, Slack support, more accountability. We're going to keep you on track, make sure you succeed. People they're like, of course that costs more. That's your time.
Yeah.
So, and some people have got the money and are willing to spend it.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there a typical framework that, let's say when you're talking about, let's say I have a course, the Google Shopping course, for instance. So there's a course that kind of, you do it yourself with the guidance of the course. And there's the done with you element. How does that look typically? How do you structure these kinds of group coaching offers?
Yeah. So the standard way of doing it that we will have as like the starting point is you have a call once a week. It's a group call. Everybody can come and join. Now, you can limit the number of people per call depending on the amount of money that you're charging people, or you could have it be a really big call that lots and lots of people can come on. But have a call, maybe a couple a week, something like that. You have a Slack group or a Facebook group or some way for people to ask questions in between, and then you or your coaches then go in and answer those questions. And then you have a course that goes with it as well. So it's not just like come and ask anything that you like. It's like, this is the structure we're working through. This is what we're trying to achieve here. You're trying to get from point A, where you haven't got the problem solved, to point B, where you've got it solved and you're making more money, or you're doing the thing, in the case of the Google Shopping ads, they're making more return on their ad spend. And each week you can ask questions in that group. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can then structure that. Some people do a lifetime deal where, like, okay, you pay to get access to the course and you can come on as many calls as you like forever. What we more typically do is a ongoing program, which is a fixed amount of time. So either you pay per month for it. So we used to do, with our group coaching program, we used to charge $1,900 a month. We actually shifted that to be, we charge people only based on a percentage of the increase in revenue they get. So we kind of made that, we're like, how could we read Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer, and we're like, how can we make this offer so compelling that everybody has to work with us, because it's like, this is so good. And so people only pay us when they make more money. But the simplest one is you just charge people kind of per month or for a fixed period of time. Cohort is one way of structuring it. So you say, right, we're going to have everybody in at this one time, and then we're going to do it for 6 weeks or 12 weeks and go through the whole thing together, and then you're done. I don't like those as much, because even though it's quite nice from the user experience in terms of you going through it with everybody else at the same pace, the downside is people can only join when you say there is a new cohort going live. And it tends to lead to you doing launches rather than regular email promotions. And launches are more stressful, because if anything goes wrong and it breaks, then you're like, oh my God, if this doesn't work, it causes real problem with cash flow and what have you. You're trying to fill a certain number of slots, whereas if it's ongoing, that's just much calmer. And every week you get another chance to drive more people in.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So wanted to touch on something really quick. So you mentioned your irresistible offer for your own group coaching. So you had $1,900 a month, $1,800 a month, and then you shifted to only we pay us a percentage of your increased revenue. So I without getting into specifics that you might not want to share, how has that gone for you?
Yeah, it's good. So we had, at the same time, we started letting in a slightly wider audience of people than we'd previously worked with. And we had some people who weren't a good fit. So we've stopped working with them now. We had some people who, because there wasn't an upfront price, they joined and they'd attend, but then they wouldn't do the work. And that was obviously very frustrating to us, because like, well, we're spending time talking with you and you're not making us any more money, you any more money, what have you.
Yeah.
What we had found previously is we were charging people and they would come and pay us monthly and then not do the work. And we also hated that, because we're like, I don't want your money if you're not making more money from it. And so that kind of drove us crazy, which is why we shifted over. So what we've started to find is, as we've refined the process and what have you, we've now started to make a higher amount of money on average per person who's in the program than we were doing before. And it's easier for people to sign up. So we have a fixed cap on it. So it's 10,000. Basically, we think of it now as being a $10,000 a month program. But you only pay us 10,000 once you're making $50,000 or more per month extra on top of what you were doing. And that's also allowed us to give people a lot more support. So if we're like, okay, we can see this person can get to the point where they're going to make an extra 50 or 100 or 200,000 a month, and therefore we're going to do very well financially out of it, we can then put lots of resources into helping them get there faster, more than we could do when we're charging a fixed amount. And then for those people who, you know what, we have some people in there who we're never going to make that much money from, but it's quite nice helping people out, you know, getting someone to go from 3,000 a month to 7,000 a month in revenue. It's life-changing for them. Like, it's completely life-changing for them. But they don't have to pay us as much as somebody else who is making more money, so they can afford it. And so we quite enjoyed that as well.
That's awesome. And the cool thing is too, is that, you know, they kind of already figured out the product market fit, right? They have a converting offer and it's converting on some level. And then you're just like adding gasoline on the fire and just showing them the ropes on, hey, here's that actually fully monetize this.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. It's a really good position to be in. So
the other thing that worked well for us there, if it's right to share, is like, because we've structured the deal in that way, when we get somebody up to the point where they're making an extra, we've got one client who's making, I think, $200,000 extra per month. At that point, we can start to talk to them about, well, what else could we do to support you? Because we've got a done for you service as well. Maybe that's also useful for them. And so we're trying to make it at every point so easy for somebody to say yes to work with us more. It to be like, oh, you know, this is absolutely brilliant. I've already made so much more. And they can just stay there. They can stay at that level. Or if they want more support, well, then they're now making more money, so they can afford to pay us more, and then we'll help them even further, you know. So then we'll start working with them on, right, let's improve your front end funnel further. Let's improve your ads. Let's get an ads person in as well, and then really scale this thing to the moon. So we're trying to make it so that we're kind of creating our own done for you clients. You know, we get them into coaching, and then we move them to one-to-one consultancy, and then we move them to a done for you. And at every point, there's no risk to them because they know it works already and they've already made a lot more money.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's like the sales is superfluous at that point.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Found it. That's awesome. So is that, you know, from as a service, an agency service provider standpoint, that's where you want people, is good clients in the done for you space. Is that sort of optimal for you?
That's the top of it. Yeah. Like that's where we make the most money from somebody, and that's where they're making the most money as well. Not everybody's going to get to that stage because some people, their niche is too small. You know, the quilting example that you mentioned before, it's unlikely. Like maybe it's possible. Maybe the quilting niche is big enough that you could, you know, and their audience is big enough that you could get it going well enough with the organic traffic to then start to do ads, to then start to move to. But my expectation with a lot of people is that they'll probably, like most people, will stay at the done with you level, and only like, you know, 10%, 20% of people then kind of move up to the higher levels. But that's the kind of the top of the peak for us. Like, and again, the work that we do with our done for you clients is kind of similar in that we only charge people. So we charge people a fixed amount, but the bulk of the way that we make money with them is by charging a percentage of the increase in revenue.
Yeah.
So we can charge enough to cover our costs because the costs are so high with the done for you service. So again, we kind of like, how do we remove the risk there? So it's really easy for them because they know that our interests are aligned with that.
Interesting. So you do, okay, got it. So what about on the front end side of things? What are some of the big mistakes you see people making that you see again and again?
Yeah. So the front end funnel. So do you mean like if someone's running ads into it, or how do you mean?
Even if they're not running ads, let's say they just have some kind of organic following and they have people coming in that way, or if they're running ads, I mean, just what do you see typically are some big mistakes that people are making?
Yeah. So there's an opportunity when somebody has just signed up to your email list to offer them something to buy. And about 3 to 10% of people will buy immediately. And so having some kind of a front end funnel is essential. And then there's two benefits to this. One is you make money. There's three, actually. One is you make money immediately from those people. You make sales to them and they get a valuable product from you. The second one is that you then have a funnel that once you've optimized it enough, you can drive ads to. And you don't have to spend money on ads before you've got the funnel. You have the funnel, you've got the funnel and you optimize it on your organic traffic, and then you make it work with ads. And if something will work with organic and warm traffic, it doesn't mean it'll work with ads. But if it doesn't work with warm traffic, there's no way it's working with cold.
100%.
So that's the second one. And then the third benefit is if someone's bought something from you and they loved it and it was great, they're way more likely to buy more stuff from you later. We found that buyers are 20 times more likely to buy every month than the non-buyers. So let's get something great in their hands that they at a very reasonable price, and then they're much more likely to buy it later. So the way that we recommend to everyone to do that to begin with is something called a tripwire funnel. And the way this works for anyone who doesn't know the term is someone signs up to your email list. So maybe they see your lead magnet in your blog post or on your YouTube channel or whatever. They click through, they sign up to the lead magnet. On the confirmation page, you offer them something they could buy straight away, and you make it cheap. So you make it something that they can do without thinking too much about. In the hobby space, we're talking about $27 or $37. So if we're in the musicality space or spirituality or personal development or what have you, something around $27, $37 seems to work well. If you're in the business space, that could be more expensive. That could be like $99 or whatever. But it's so cheap that someone, if they get it and it doesn't work, they're not going to feel like an idiot. That's kind of part, because they don't know you that well yet, probably. So you need to have something where they can just buy it and take a slight risk on you. Then if you set that page up really well, then about 3 to 10% of people will then buy that offer immediately. Then what you do is you have on the checkout page, you have an order bump. And an order bump is an additional offer somebody can get while they're checking out. So they're putting their credit card details in. There's a tick box and 2 or 3 sentences explaining what this additional product is. You generally have something that goes well with the product they're buying right now. And between 30 and 50% of people will typically buy that. And that's going to add about 20% to your overall revenue. I'm just going to pull up for myself our internal tracking spreadsheet, because I've actually got exact data on how much more you make from that particular kind of funnel when you're doing that. So if we look at the front end funnel as opposed to within the emails, the order bump gives an average increase of 34% average take rate, and the average revenue from the order bumps is about 25% increase in revenue from having that. So that's really, really important, because if you start to run ads, every additional dollar you make from a funnel is huge. And then with upsells, that's something that happens on the confirmation page. So somebody has already put their credit card details in, they've already bought the product, maybe they bought the order bump, maybe they didn't. And then on the confirmation page, you offer an additional product that somebody could buy, and that's the upsell. And so all of that whole funnel together, combined with follow-up emails if someone drops out partway through, etc., is known as a tripwire funnel. And if you just Google tripwire funnel, then there's an article from us that goes into more detail about that will come up as well. The upsell will add about another 25%, 25.5% being our average increase in revenue from the upsell as well. So that's about 50% or so extra revenue you get from those. And so that's the biggest mistake I see people make, where they just don't have that in place. Like we've got clients where they've made, let's just pull this up here. Last year, one client made an extra $230,000 just from their tripwire funnel.
Wow.
And that's just from the order bumps and upsells in their tripwire funnel.
Wow. Wow.
They made $680,000 from the whole tripwire funnel last year.
That's insane. So what kind of, so you mentioned, so for the tripwire offer, initial like $7, let's say, and then the order, what's the typical price range for the order bump?
Yeah, so I'd say the order bump in that kind of funnel should be about the same price as the original product.
Okay.
$7 is quite a typical price that people use with tripwire funnels, but actually we found that slightly more expensive tends to work better. So 27 or 37. Okay. So then your order bump would be another $37, let's say. Let's say your initial tripwire product is 27, the order bump would be another 37. The upsell in that case would probably be about 97, 99, 67, something in that price point. The way you price those order bump and upsells varies in different kinds of funnels. Like if you're doing an email promotion, that's a different structure. But for the tripwire funnel, order bump about the same price, upsell about 2 to 3 times more.
Super interesting. Love it. I mean, this is something, we have a pretty decent lead volume coming into our tool, our software tool, and we do sell some things. in addition to the software.
Into
for that
VidTao. Yeah,
into
I signed
VidTao.
up for your premium offering earlier. I was like, oh, I should be checking this out myself, and it looks great. And yeah, there wasn't anything else to buy.
Exactly. As this whole time we were talking, I'm just frantically taking mental notes of like, yep, we need to do that. We could sell that there. We could sell that there. And so, yeah, I mean, I really appreciate it. And I mean, this is like, it's one of these things too. It's like, it's kind of common sense, but like you need someone to lay it out. And you're telling me like these numbers, because you see it again and again, how this plays out. So you're talking about adding over $500,000 a year to someone's business by implementing this, where it's like you're leaving that money on the table. It could exist in your business, but you're choosing not to actually go out there and provide that value to people. Like you provide, like I'm just thinking about one checklist we have that we haven't even shared yet. That's definitely worth $30. It's going to save someone, probably could save them thousands of dollars on, this case, like video editing expenses. So it's like there's so much value out there, and so I love how you're going out there on a daily basis and helping your customers really capture that. So I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, one of the things that happened when I started this business was that you can go through a lot of different marketing gurus stuff around these kinds of funnels, and you'll hear 1,000 different techniques. You've got soap opera sequence emails, and you've got webinar funnels and VSL funnels and all these different kinds of things, sideways sales letters. And it's like, okay, which ones work and which ones are better than others and which is easier to put in place? And so what we did is for 2 years, we went and tested every single technique on all of our clients' funnels, and we made very little profit because we spent a lot of time just trying out everything. And then what we did is we went back and we analyzed every single tactic that we'd ever used. How long did it take to do it? How much money did it work? And what percentage of clients did it work for? And so what we've got left is these 8 tactics that we do for our clients, which are the ones that always work every single time. They are work for every kind of client that we work with. Everybody who's got an online course business with an existing audience. And they're more efficient. They don't take so long to do. And so it saves people an enormous amount of time. And out of all of those, out of every tactic that we use, or the 8 that we've boiled down from the 100 before, order bumps is the best one. Like really? It's the one that you're like, it takes almost no time to do. Like you could improve it, you can optimize it, but just to set it up in the first place, it takes like half a day, something like that, to do it for a bunch of different products. What I'll actually do is I'll get Martina from my team to go through VidTao sign-up process and put together a video for you breaking down like, okay, how would we redo this? What would we include here as an order bump? What would kind of work as the upsell here, do we think? And like a breakdown of the sales page as well. It's something that we do for a lot of people who are interested in working with us, because it gives them the chance to kind of test us out without having to, work with us first. We charge for them as well, like $1,000, but I do them free for people if I think that's be good. So Martina will do that for you and send it through.
Amazing. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be so cool. And you mentioned, so I mean, my curiosity is definitely engaged at this point around, you mentioned these 8 things. So order bump being like the 80, the 95.5
yeah.
of all of them, right? But you mentioned these 8 things. Is there a place that our listeners can find out more about them, or maybe you can quickly run through them, and then there's maybe a resource you could point them at where they can hear more from on it?
Absolutely. So I covered a couple of them already. So the 3 general topics that they're under are increase revenue per sale, increase the percentage of people who buy each month, and increase the number of email subscribers. So under increase revenue per sale, we've got order bumps and upsells. That's the 2 under that heading.
Got it.
Under increase percentage of people who buy each month, you want to have a tripwire funnel, you want to have better email promotions, and you want to have them more regularly. So 2 email promotions a month, but most people do maybe 3 a year. And you want to have very, very high quality email promotions so that people like getting them, so they don't unsubscribe, because otherwise then it's kind of just annoying to people and you lose your email list. And then in terms of increasing the email subscribers, you want to have a great lead magnet. You want to turn off the double opt-in and then show the lead magnet more often. So that's on your website and it's off on your social media and everywhere else that you've got. And those are the tactics. And it's like, when I first boil it down to these 8, I was like, it can't be that simple. Like it kind of like you've got to have more stuff than that. And I thought, well, we'll teach everybody this, and then we'll start to teach them wider tactics as well. And what we found is we've got clients who've been in our program for like 2 years, and we just keep going back over all of these things, optimizing a bit further. And like with email promotions, for example, we'll have clients who are like, okay, well, what am I going to email about this month? What's my hook going to be? What course am I going to promote? And so we just keep helping people to implement all of those things. Once you've got that, there are further levels. You can do webinars. You can then start to drive ads into this as well. But just doing these 8 is enough for most people to 5 times their revenue. Like our average increase across all clients is 4.86 times increase in revenue.
Wow.
And the vast majority, some people are down at the double. Nearly everyone's in 2 to 5 times. And then you have occasional outliers who've 30 times who pull that average up a little bit as well. So that's it. That's the 8 tactics. And you can implement a version of that. We have clients in our program that can implement a version of it within about 3 months. And then you go back and you optimize and you do it again and again and again.
Nice. And is this dependent on them being on a certain kind of platform, sales? Yep, got it.
You can do this on every single, like that's part of why this thing works. When I'm saying this works for everybody, you can do this if you're in Kajabi or Teachable, or you're using Thrivecart, or, you can do this if you're in Podio, or, whatever you're using for selling your courses through. If you're doing it through ClickFunnels, what have you, you can set up all of these different tactics. And if anyone wants to learn like more detail about all of those tactics, where I kind of explain it more, you can go to datadrivenmarketing.co/webinar, and there's a webinar that explains them all. Or you can go to pimpyourfunnel.com, which is my favorite website address I've ever bought.
I'm surprised. When did you buy that? That seems like a premium domain right there.
Yeah, I know, it's good, isn't it? So pimpyourfunnel.com, and you fill in like a form, you fill in information about your existing course business, and my team will do a personalized report for you and figure out which of these tactics you need to have in place, how much more money it's going to make you, how much more money you can make overall, and you'll get that report back in a few days. If you're at a bigger scale, if you're doing maybe over 10,000 a month in revenue, they'll also do one of those video reviews that I mentioned, that we normally charging people $1,000 for it. They'll do that for free and just send that over to you. So you've got a breakdown of, okay, for your sales page, what's missing, for your order page, what's missing, for your homepage, what's missing. And Martina or somebody else from the team would do that.
That's fantastic. So pimpyourfunnel.com?
Pimpyourfunnel.com.
Pimpyourfunnel, is that where you can, and then datadrivenmarketing.co/webinar.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Fantastic. I mean, John, you've given some unbelievable take-home homework for everybody today. So really appreciate it. And it's not, we're usually talking about, new ad tactics, new ways to drive down your cost per acquisition via on the ad side. We're talking about the conversion side here, which is so crucial, whether you get 5 visitors a week organic, or you're getting, 500,000 visitors per day, paid ads, whatever the case may be. All this stuff is so universal. So, and not many companies are actually doing everything you recommend here. So again, we're all leaving money on the table. And so I appreciate you for pointing this all out. And it's been a great chat.
Man, you're very welcome. I'm glad to help. If anybody makes a bunch more money from this, please email me. I love getting those emails. If you just do this stuff, you never work with us, you never pay us a cent, and but you make more money, just drop me an email, john@datadrivenmarketing.co. And when I get those emails through, I'm like, I just feel good. It's nice. But if you need our help, then go to one of those links that I told you. Pimpyourfunnel.com is probably the best one. And if you're interested in working with us, there'll be like a link afterwards that tell you how to do that.
Thanks so much, John. Great to have you on the call.
Thank you, Ian. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of VidTao Podcast. Again, my name is Ian Nagy, co-founder of VidTao, and really appreciate you having a listen. And it means a lot. So if you have any feedback, go ahead and email us at info@vidtao.com. Love to hear your ideas for future shows, future guests. If you want to be a guest, let us know. Love to chat. Also, just as a reminder, this show has been sponsored by VidTao, which is our free YouTube ad library. VidTao.com. Again, you can go to VidTao and look up over 1 million ads at this point inside of VidTao. They're all unlisted YouTube ads. You can see what your competitors are running, track the results on a day-by-day basis, find new ads inside of our YouTube ad library, VidTao. And we also have a premium edition of VidTao. So the library is free to access, but for full unlimited access to the library, we have a premium edition of VidTao. We also have training from our Inceptly.com agency, which is our sister company to VidTao, where we've managed over $150 million on YouTube. We provide training on media buying, creatives, tracking, copywriting, everything in between. It's all there inside of VidTao Premium. And right now we're running a very special deal on VidTao Premium. And you can go claim that right now at vidtao.com. When you sign up for free, you'll see the offer to join Premium and go there and check that out. And last thing, we also do free brainstorm calls with our agency Inceptly. Go to inceptly.com/call. And we love brainstorming with you on your video advertising and just marketing in general. Love to chat. So inceptly.com/call, CALL. Would love to speak with you. So thanks again for joining us and looking forward to the next show. In the meantime, have a great week.